Ladies and gentlemen, you welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. prime time newscast on Equinoxe television. We are broadcasting from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. My name is Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, 2 English-speaking teachers detained incommunicado for close to a month. The 2 teachers were picked up by a squad of uniform and civilian, a squad of men in uniform and civilian attire here in Cameroon's economic capital Douala for close to 3 weeks now. Their whereabouts remains unknown, and the head of the United Nations Office for Human Rights and Democracy in Central Africa urges the Cameroon government and other governments to promote the respect of human rights in the context of the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. He was speaking today in Boya during the celebration of the Human Rights Day. Thanks, dear viewers, for staying with us in this edition of the news on Equinoxe television. We begin with this information concerning 2 English-speaking teachers who were picked up by a squad of men in uniform and civilian attire close to a month ago here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. They are being detained incommunicado in violation of the laws of the land, and their whereabouts remains unknown till today. We spoke to some relatives of one of the teachers and other colleagues of the detained teachers. Take a listen.
This picture is one of the last images that Ivan Agbo has of her husband. She and her children have been without news of her husband since the 18th of November 2020, when he was taken by unidentified individuals to an undisclosed destination.
For about 3 weeks now, I've not set my eyes on my husband. Some strange men came here and took him with them. They came and searched the house, scattered the house. They took him and go to a place that we don't even know till now. We have no information about him.
A situation that has brought unbearable hardship to the wife and children.
And it's really troubling me because I'm here with the 3 children. I cannot even take care, even to feed for a day. It's impossible for us. And what is troubling me is that I don't even know if he's alive or not. So for now, it's really troubling me, it's traumatizing me. Cannot do otherwise. So what I want is that I don't know if he's a
teacher at government bilingual high school New Bird Douala and a lay private school at the Upo neighborhood of the economic capital city. The unclear disappearance of Ebot Elvis is not only affecting his wife and children, but his mother too.
As you can see, these are my 3 children, and that is the mother. We have no one here to support us. She left the village and came here because of the issue also. We have gone to Yaoundé to search for him. He's not there. And even here in Douala, he is not. So we don't really know where he is.
I never seen my piggy play with it. I don't know, don't go give up. Oh, Papa God.
Just like family members, his co-teachers have no knowledge on his whereabouts.
Mr. Ebot is an economics teacher in this school. He's teaching on Friday morning when he was supposed to be in school. We waited for him, he did not come. And we decided to get in touch, and then we were told that he was picked up. So,
while at the government bilingual high school New Bell campus, very few people were ready to talk on his disappearance, but a teacher off camera confirmed to us that another teacher got whisked away in a similar circumstances 2 weeks after the Mr. Ebot Elvis incident.
The people came here, they were assaulted. We don't really know who they are. We don't know if he's alive or not.
The kids have been sent away from school for school fees, and the family, which is unable to pay their rent, risk being thrown out of the house by their landlord.
And lawyers have decried the incommunicado detention of the teachers and other persons in the Republic of Cameroon as a gross violation of human rights. And another area where human rights have been violated has to do with corruption, which is a growing phenomenon in the Republic of Cameroon. And despite all government's efforts to crush the cankerworm of corruption, it is still there, persisting and even growing in intensity according to some analysts. And this is a problem that affects the socio-economic and political rights, the socio-economic and even cultural rights of Cameroonians. And we have details in this report by Immaculate Fogwe.
Cameroon occupies position number 153 out of a total of 180 countries ranked by the Corruption Perception Index of Transparency International. During the commemoration of the 17th edition of the International Day for the Fight Against Corruption, the president of the Anti-Corruption Commission, CONAC, said the West region is far from being an example for other regions, as it is amongst one of the highest corrupt regions in the country. Reverend Dr. Dieudonné Massingam added that they are in the West region to sensitize the population on the negative impact of corruption, which is currently weakening the economy. We chose the West region because the once vibrant economy is now limping. During the 17th edition of the Fight Against Corruption, we decided to sensitize the population on the dangers of corruption. We equally wanted them to know that with the aid of the police and gendarmes, we have been able to track a good number of those carrying out such practices. This year's celebration is taking place at the time when Cameroon on the 1st of April ratified the African Union Convention for the Fight Against Corruption.
Immaculate Fogwe reporting there, and the head of the office of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Central Africa, the United Nations Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Central Africa, has urged governments to fight, to work for the respect of human rights, notably within the context of the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. He was speaking during the Human Rights Day celebration today in the Southwest Regional Chief Town, Boya. Derejato has more.
Conflict and crisis within the Central African sub-region is on the rise, so too are human rights violations. Commemorating the 72nd anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United Nations Human Rights Head Office of the Central African Sub-Region declared that the 2020 International Human Rights Day is being celebrated in a very difficult context, with coronavirus pandemic standing tall. And in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon, the context is much more complex. The 4 years war, human rights activists say, is erasing all forms of human rights, as rape, torture, extortion, and intimidation, just to name these few, are being witnessed in this part of the country on daily basis as the war rages on. The respect of women and the provision of job opportunities were some of the worries that were echoed out from authorities in the Southwest region this day.
We expect the rights of women to be respected, especially women prisoners in my own specific domain. We expect the rights of, in fact, the vulnerable as a whole, women, children, the youth, to be respected. You know, many youth are out in the societies, they are jobless. We expect them to be, you know, to be given something, to be taught something to do.
The United Nations Human Rights Head Office of the Central African Sub-Region said all Cameroonians should promote human rights for a better recovery from both the pandemic and the war in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon.
We are facing coronavirus pandemic, and the message is addressed all government of the sub-region to promote human rights and defend human rights. And it is a task for each Cameroonian citizen to do is better to promote human rights.
A press conference was organized in Buea by the United Nations Human Rights Head Office of the Central African Sub-Region for better dissemination of information for the protection of human rights.
And the rights of Cameroonians violated on daily basis in the town of Douala and elsewhere in the country by unidentified individuals, suspected armed men, suspected bandits who attack civilians in the day, in the night, at almost all times. And sometimes the victims are killed, some of them are wounded, some are deprived of their belongings, and some of the suspected bandits are now in the dragnets of the police. They were arrested by the mobile intervention unit of the police force here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Manju Demolition.
They were 6 in number that were presented by the elements of the Mobile Intervention Police Unit, GMI-2, and accused of robbery. At the presentation of this Super 6 was one of their victims, a lady who was gang raped by some of the members of the gang. The lady, who also accepted knowing them, said,
14 octobre à 23h, je sortais d'un anniversaire de ma grande sœur.
She was returning from her elder sister's birthday party in Bonaberi. At their neighborhood in Logbesu, the gang attacked her, took her to a nearby bush where the act was committed.
Avec la machette sur le cou, c'est comme ça que le plus petit, qui est le plus méchant, a pris un temps inouï sur moi.
The arrest of these 6 alleged bandits was possible thanks to an in-depth investigation that was done by security officials of GMI-2.
14 precisely, we had a complaint from a who was attacked by some men of the underground, and her vehicle was seized. So from her complaint, we launched an investigation that resulted to the arrest of this special, from our investigation. This is a special group that resides precisely in Bonaberi. They are specialized in attacking women because they are vulnerable group. So it was thanks to the ladies' phones, Android phones that were seized by these same bandits that we were able to trace, because they started using these phones themselves.
At the presentation of the Super 6, a good number of items they have stolen from Douala inhabitants, mostly women, was also exhibited, ranging from mobile phones, flat screen television, printer, pairs of shoes, jewelries, and cars. A locally fabricated pistol, machetes, alongside a dagger were also shown to the population.
We live at Bonaberi, so we're from somewhere passing. So we're around town, we're passing, so we just met her accidentally. Just from Baminda, but not make up to 5 days here that I'm taking the energy is temptation.
What you have said is okay, because we were together. But I cannot explain. I don't know what come up. So after that, I'm not for the reaction.
The arrest of the 6 alleged bandits was easy to the security forces thanks to collaboration with inhabitants. The citizens of Douala are called upon to be more vigilant.
Je ne pourrais dire aux populations qu'elles doivent faire très attention parce que le pic de la criminalité a toujours tendance à grimper au mois de décembre.
I am telling the population to be more vigilant because insecurity increases during this period of the year, and they should also continue to collaborate with the forces of law and order. The success of this operation is thanks to the cooperation of the population.
Que nous avons reçu auprès de la population, auprès des citoyens de bonne foi, Certes, il y a l'expertise policière, mais également les renseignements que la population nous donne. Nous ne sommes pas des démiurges.
After the presentation of these alleged bandits and the reconstitution of the act at the Logbesu neighborhood, they will be taken to court for justice to take its course.
Coming up next, Immaculate Fogwe takes a look at the problem of urban disorder. Difficult, not just becoming too difficult for authorities in the city of Douala to crack, and we taking a case in point in this newscast Douala 5 subdivision, the Denver neighborhood. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
Residents of Block Vung, Denver, precisely behind the Total filling station in Bonamusa, the Douala 5 subdivision, are worried about the illegal occupation of public gardens by some individuals, which is now serving as a hotspot for snack bars and garages. The latest development that irritated a good number of the population is the construction of this recreational center in a public space, violating town planning rules. The situation forced these residents to send a letter to a divisional officer for the Wuri division, Benjamin Butu, with them describing the project as a violation of the law. Reacting to the letter, the senior divisional officer sent a team to investigate what is being done on the site.
La mission était de réaliser un constat.
Those sent on the field did not respect the instruction given to them. They rather dialogued with those concerned. The construction of these snacks will result to heightened insecurity in the area. It will equally promote promiscuity and urban disorder.
Il y a l'insécurité. Il y a l'insécurité d'abord.
The senior divisional officer for Wuri immediately requested that construction work should stop. He later convened a meeting with those sent on the field, describing their report as unsatisfactory. All efforts made so as to get in contact with the city mayor of the Douala 5 Council, who is believed to have authorized the project, were all in vain.
Now to the Mongo division in Manju, now to Manju, and we're going to be talking about demolition exercise by the council, and the exercise is causing untold sufferings to market women, or better still traders in the market. According to the council, the council authorities say that they want to organize things, they want to put order in the market, but the traders are finding it difficult to accept because of the impact of the demolition on their business activities and their daily income. It is in this report.
Demolition of obsolete and makeshift stores in the Manju market as ordered by mayor of the municipality. Aim is to eradicate this order, give the market a befitting look in modern time. Some disgruntled traders frowned with the mayor for never showing them a temporary site to continue their trades while awaiting construction of new solid shops.
Justement, nous on voulait franchement que les fêtes passent et puis moi je me suis dépassée depuis et en période de fête.
This other trader wishes the mayor had at least waited and carried out the demolition after end-of-year festivities.
Ils font ça, ils vont dire non, que eux-mêmes ne peuvent pas.
Though the complaints, they appraised the mayor's modernization plans for this Manju market.
J'apprécie vraiment le projet.
I only wish after the construction of new shops, each trader's space be maintained.
Ça là, on remet chacune à sa place. C'est que j'ai vraiment besoin que
Same opinion this woman bears.
De chaque personne, que les ayants droit ont leur boutique.
In line with modernizing the market, the council had constructed 40 shops in 2020.
La suite, ce serait la construction de pratiquement de 60 boutiques.
Next will be construction of 60 more shops in 2021. Reason why, to realize them as the year approaches, it is necessary to eliminate the obsolete structures.
De la construction des prochaines 60 boutiques.
The Manju Council officials regret the inconveniences caused the traders, but implore them to be patient and assured once the project is realized, they will be maintained in the positions they had occupied, but this time in a modern structure.
In news out of Cameroon, incumbent Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo has been re-elected at the helm of the country. He won the presidential election with a slight margin of 51.59% against 47.36% for his major challenger, former President John Dramani Mahama. And international observers have described the election as fair, free, and transparent. Meantime, the United Kingdom is the first host of nations to administer the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine against coronavirus. Over 800,000 doses are expected to be dispensed in the coming weeks, and 4 million doses are equally expected to be administered at the end or by the end of the month. The United States has also confirmed the vaccine to be 95% effective. All of that in this report compiled by Kmer.
President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana won the presidential elections by a slim margin, securing 51.59% of total votes cast. Opposition leader, former President John Mahama, secured 47.36%. Officials of Ghana's main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, fondly called the NDC, have rejected the election results declared by the Electoral Commission, citing alleged irregularities, and said they will soon make known their next course of action. However, local and international election monitors have said that the elections were transparent, free and fair. In his victory speech, President Nana Akufo-Addo called for unity and promised to improve the living standards in Ghana. Meantime, a grandmother from the United Kingdom known as Margaret Keenan became the first person in the world to be given this Pfizer COVID-19 jab as part of a mass vaccination program. Margaret Keenan, who turns 91 next week, says the injection she received was the best early birthday present ever. It was the first of 800,000 doses of the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine that will be dispensed in the coming weeks, as the United Kingdom is the first nation to administer the vaccine worldwide. Up to 4 million more are expected by the end of the month. Hubs in the United Kingdom are starting to roll out by vaccinating the over 80-year-olds and some healthcare workers. Senior National Health Service sources say thousands of vaccinations had already been administered across the United Kingdom earlier during the week. However, people with a history of significant allergic reactions should not have Pfizer BioNTech and jab. Health regulators say it came after 2 National Health Service workers who had allergic reactions in the course of the week after taking the vaccinations. This applies to those who have had reactions to medicines, foods, or vaccines. The Medicine and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency says the 2 workers had an anaphylactoid reaction, which tends to involve a skin rash, breathlessness, and sometimes a drop in blood pressure. Both NHS workers have undergone treatment and are both fine now. United States health regulators have also confirmed the vaccine to be 95% effective, paving the way for it to be approved for emergency use, especially now that the state of Florida has recorded 40,000 new COVID-19 cases in just 24 hours.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Coming up next, Talking Point. Our guest today is a civil society activist, gender specialist, and disarmament coordinator working with the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom Cameroon branch. She is also a member of Gender Equality Network on Small Arms Control, GENSAC. Amel Ndongo Safak, thank you for joining us today. I hope I got it right.
Thank you for inviting me at your panel to discuss about important topic concerning mostly women and girls in our country.
All right, today is the Human Rights Day. What's your take on the situation of human rights in the Republic of Cameroon?
Honestly, what we can say is that the human rights situation is a little bit challenging now, because since 2013, the beginning of the Boko Haram crisis, many women and children are the most suffering from this situation, and from that time till now, the situation is not improving in the good way. Women, as you can say, women are victims from conflict. Most of them are raped. Sometimes they are killed. Their husband are killed, even their son, and they are now obliged to be the head of family. That was not a lot of responsibilities
coming upon their shoulders because of the death of the husbands.
Yes, and due to the crisis, most of them have lost their income generating activities. That is the situation of women in Cameroon, mostly women in the region where crises are still going on.
Like in the northwest and in the southwest regions.
Northwest, southwest, the far north, and even the east, because in the east we have the afflux of refugees coming from Central Africa. This situation also affects the women in the east region of Cameroon.
And you talked about the fact that many of the women now finding it quite difficult to put food on the table, to be able to acquire their basic needs on a day-to-day basis because of the fact that they've lost their husbands and they have also lost their source of livelihood. How was the impact on the socioeconomic rights of these women?
Women cannot more be able to take care of their self or even of their whole family, because most of them were obliged to run away from where they used to live due to the crisis. So many of those women were farmers, others were sellers, and even tailors, some small activity.
Tailors and
hairdresser, all those type of work, even call boxers, but now they are not more living in their former environment. They were obliged to run away to look for a safety place in another region. But there is another challenge. Where are they going to live? Where are they going to go to farm? Where are they going to have a small activity which can provide them finance to take care of their family? So the situation is really worse. And we undergo a study recently, and we went to some neighborhood here in Douala, and we discussed with some refugees from IDPs, and they told us something very shocking. They told us that shocking, yes. They told us that there are at least 15 in one room, and where they live, the landlord say they cannot use the toilet because he handed the house for two people. Now there are at least 15. They are going to
fill the toilet.
That's another challenge. They told us that now what they did is that they woke up early, they use their buckets, they ease themselves in the bucket and go and throw it. That is something very shocking. That is the situation of most of IDPs women who are obliged to live in small rooms, 14, 15, 20. That is
and that could have some adverse consequences on their health.
Yeah, of course, because to ease yourself in a bucket, to go and where are you going to throw it? I ease myself, you two come after me and eat. You can imagine in the same bucket. Imagine if I am sick, what will happen to all the family? That is this is one situation among many others we find when we are going on the field to discuss with those IDPs.
And some of the women have spent days and even weeks in the bushes in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, some pregnant, some going through very difficult times.
Yes, some even deliver in the bushes. Can you imagine to deliver in the bush? We are supposed, when you deliver in the bush, how is the baby, how is the which sanitary condition is used to take the babies, even the women. She's when you give that you deliver, you are supposed to be controlled by a personnel of santé, but in the bush is wide. Nothing.
No health services in the bushes.
Yes.
And
for
some
the
of
baby
the children,
and even for the women who deliver.
And some of the children are born with complications, health complications, because
even
of the situation in which they are delivered.
That is it. That is it.
And so, from a general perspective now, the rights of women, you are a gender specialist. Beyond the situations where there are crises, away from that, in Douala, in Yaoundé, in Boya, where there are no crises, I mean in other parts of the country where there are no crises, women are also suffering a lot of violations of their rights and so on, abuse of their rights.
Yes, during the COVID-19, the UN General Secretary said that the violence against women increased. That was not only the situation abroad, even here in Cameroon, because men used to leave house to go to work, and due to the COVID, both were obliged to stay at home. We did a small survey on that, and the results show us that gender-based violence increased, even because those who were used to leave house in the morning, they were obliged to stay at home the whole day, and this creates another type of challenge and a conflict amongst partners.
In other parts of the world, we saw some videos that went viral on social media of women running out of their homes naked and saying, I'm tired, I can no longer continue to have sexual intercourse with my husband, overwhelmed, and things like that. Did your survey discover this kind of things in Cameroon?
Honestly, we did not have this situation in Cameroon. But what we have is sometimes women were obliged to abandon the children at home and go and keep safe somewhere else. Maybe return to their mother's house and to be safe from the husband, because staying at home whole day problem. There is no money. There is not money. There is not money. How are we going to manage? Because women were not able to go to activity again. Even men, everybody were obliged to stay at home, and this created a new dynamic of conflict.
All right, let's talk about small arms control. You are a member of the Gender Equality Network on Small Arms Control, and the circulation of arms is part of the problem in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and even in the far north, where we have the Boko Haram issue. Even though there we have heavy arms, and even in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, when we talk about the control of small arms, what is not being well done? Why is it that small arms are still in circulation, causing trouble here and there?
Yes, in 2016, we committed a study. The study was we wanted to know the root cause, the causes of conflict in Cameroon. And this study was committed by UN Women and the Ministry of Women Empowerment. And the study was the base of the adoption of the Cameroon 1325 UN Security Council NAP. And the study showed us that most conflicts in Cameroon are fueled by the illicit proliferation of small and light weapons. And most women and women, girls, and children were the main victims of this illicit
circulation of small arms and light weapons.
Yes, and when we went far with the study, we realized that the main causes was the lack of serious at our borders.
Along the borders.
At the border, yes, because in the East region, for instance, refugees from Central Africa, they used to come to cross from one border to another with arms. They don't come with a whole arm like that. They disaggregate the guns. Mm-hmm. Somebody can come with a small part.
They dismantle.
Yes, they dismantle and they come in with the.
But
when they are in Cameroon, they compile it to have the arms, and they use it to perpetrate conflict. Apart from that, we have people who manufacture traditional arms. I think 2 months ago, in Konsamba, yes, the police catch a hole in.
They discovered
yes,
some sort of a workshop.
Yes,
where people were fabricating.
Yes,
arms.
that is the main causes of conflict, because arms circulate. Terrorists use the arms to perpetrate conflict. Those who manufacture traditional arms, all those arms are used to fuel the ongoing conflict. That is why we are in civil society. We in 2004, since the setting up of Cameroon, we started many advocacy with other organizations working on the domain of arms control.
Like GenSAC.
No, GenSAC is an international network, but I am talking in the Cameroon level.
At the level of Cameroon.
Yes, because we have a network called Cameroon Action Network on Small Arms. There are many organizations involved in the network, and we work together to sensitize, first of all, a community on the danger of the proliferation of arms, and we continue with advocacy toward stakeholders to ratify international tools of arms control. And in 2015, the Cameroon ratified the Kinshasa Convention on Arms Control, Central African Convention on Arms Control and Ammunition. In 2016, in December, Cameroon had revised its national law on arms control. And in 2018, it was the Arms Trade Treaty. Cameroon also ratified the Arms Trade Treaty. All those tools are the tools that give a
legal framework.
A legal framework, yes.
For the control of
arms, yes, at the international and at the national level. Now, since all those tools are now ratified, we are working through the implementation, and that is the great challenge.
That is where there's always a challenge in Cameroon. The civil society organizations and leaders have always pointed this out, the implementation of laws. Good laws, signed, ratified, but the implementation becomes a problem, because these laws have always been there, but the arms are still coming in through the border between Cameroon and Nigeria, as in the southwest, in the northwest, through the borders between Cameroon and the Central African Republic, in the far north, Nigeria, Cameroon, all those porous borders, the guns are still coming in.
So what we are, the challenge in Cameroon now is the setting up of a national commission on arms control, because the tools are there, but to be well implemented. One recommendation of Kinshasa Convention, the Arms Trade Treaty, is to set up in every country who ratify those tools, is to set up a national commission. The role of the national commission will be to organize the work around the implementation of all these instruments, and to verify, to check whether what is stated
in the legal instruments are being implemented on the ground.
That is it. That's it at the national level. But at the international level, we used to work in international network like GenSAC. GenSAC is at international level, and the aim is to push government of countries to involve women as much as possible and to be part on the disarmament processes, because they realize that conflict are fueled, I think, by men. Conflict, if there are conflict, is because men sat somewhere and think, and women are never there, but they are the first suffering from the conflict. Women, children, and girls are the first victim, and when it comes to look for a solution for the conflict, women are never there. That is why
some of the women are also at the forefront in some situations.
It's scary because you have data. We have data. Women are scary in the world. There is only one woman. She's from Lebanon in the peacekeeping mission at the forefront. But most missions which are going on in the world, women are not present.
Peacekeeping missions and disarmament.
Yes.
What would be the role of women? Why do you think that it is very important and crucial to bring in women at the center of actions to control the circulation of arms and conflict resolution efforts?
Nobody better than a woman can address the problem of women. We used to take an example like that. When it's come maybe to set kits for women in conflict area, only women can think about hygienic toilet, hygienic
parts.
Yes, for women. Men cannot think about it. And only women can. Sometimes women who are raped and who are victims from conflict, they are sometimes scared of men.
They can only open up to their fellow women.
Yes, they can open up to fellow women. That is why we think it's always good to involve women in these processes. And women, and one of the first reason we think women should be part of those keeping mission is that women give how can I say it? Privilege, mediation and non-violent strategy.
They're very useful in mediation.
Yes.
And non-violent strategies.
Non-violent strategy, because what Williams, she say, when we involve 20 women, when we involve women in a
conflict resolution effort.
Yes, the accord has 20% of chance to last for 10 years. That is.
When women are involved in a peace process, the agreement between the protagonists has a higher probability of lasting for 10 years.
Yes, because they promote non-violent approaches, they promote mediation, they promote mediation, discussion, sensitization. They never come to military approaches, because since this war started in Cameroon, we saw what have been doing for long. Opposing war to strength to strength shows the limit.
Military force.
Yes,
worsening the situation.
Yes, shows the limit.
All right, Amel Ndongo, SAFAC, civil society activist, gender specialist, disarmament coordinator of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, Cameroon branch of WIF, and member of Gender Equality Network on Small Arms Control. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and talk about what we have been doing on the floor concerning the participation of women in the search of solution on the ongoing crisis in Cameroon.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.